Yeah, I I can see where you want to get personal with the livery. Mm, and they tried to offer you insurance for it, right? Uh, and yeah, reason why I could tell that you want to be personal with how you want to let them know how you feel. You you notice some of my unpopular opinions. You wanted to check if we're on the air. Yeah, it's good to do a check before you get on air.
Yep.
Not functioning. um, are you underwater? I'm talking to our company.
Oh no.
Okay, I thought for a moment you were.
I was not. No. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, I had to restart my computer because of uh, like I'm using my secondary computer, my laptop, and it's a Windows PC, and they got me. They were like, "Yeah, you got to update." I'm like, "Fuck!" They caught me, so finally had to do it. Now I have to reset all my settings. But that's neither here nor there. Um, so basically, we have some really good stuff here. Um, some really good news, or at least I guess to some people it's good news. So let's start with the beginning of the news. We got a lot of news, okay? So the first little bit of news we got is Black video game pioneer Jerry Lawson is having a USC, so a University of Southern California Games Endowment named after him. Now, for those of you who don't know, Jerry Lawson is the guy who worked on the Fairchild Channel F, which is the first video game console that had swappable game cartridges.
Cartridges.
Yes. Therefore, without Jerry Lawson's engineering team basically creating swappable game cartridges, you would have no Atari. You would have no Hue cards. You would have no Sega Genesis. No,
We wouldn't even have USBs in a sense.
no USBs. No flash memory. None of that shit. And technically speaking, you wouldn't have a Switch because Nintendo went all the way back around to cartridges again with the Switch. So there you go, folks.
Now that's some good honors there.
Fortunately, he died in 2011. It's a shame they're just giving him his accolades now after he died, but you know.
For some, it's better late than never. So, on that note,
I disagree. Give me my shit while I'm on the earth, before I'm under it. Give me my plaudits.
Mr. Red Fox.
Give me my plaudits and accolades while I'm alive, okay? Because when I'm dead, no one's gonna know about it, okay? Or at least I'm not gonna know about it. So what's the point? You can wait till I'm an old person, but don't, because people always do that. Like, he was a good man. He's dead. Why did you tell him this shit when he was alive? He could have used it then. Give me my flowers while I'm alive to smell them. But that's just me. But before we go any further, let's have everyone introduce themselves, starting with the lady first.
Thank you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the BS Busters Midweek Podcast. I am Joe Eli Moonstar, and oh boy, did you talk to the mailman today? Because I think we got a lot of news to work with.
Yeah, I found a lot of news stories. I realized I was slipping. You know, I was slipping in preparing my stuff, so I said, you know what, I'm going to put some news stories up there and actually do my job. Kenoshi, introduce yourself.
Kenoshi.
Mr. Abominito. All right. Well, when he gets back, he can start playing. So basically, we have first little news topic. I guess we'll do the news topics first, then the opinion pieces and panelist-based topics. So the first one, Europa Universalis for game director apologized for years of mediocre, low-quality games. Europa Universalis is basically kind of like I guess this latest one has kind of been a bit of a higher quality, but before it's always been kind of like a poor man's answer to the Settlers or Civilization. You know, it's like you can't you want to play a 4X Civilization game, but you don't want a name brand Europa Universalis.
I was gonna make the joke. You're saying that Europa is basically generic cereal.
Yeah. It's like, I really want Golden Grams, but I can't afford Golden Grams, so I'll get the store brand that's like Golden Grams. That's Europa Universalis. So.
Dang.
Yeah.
When you're the store brand, be expected to not have the intense flavor.
Well, to be fair,
talking about?
Well, this is our first news story. We're talking about the Europa Universalis gentleman director, because basically they came out with their newest DLC for that game called Leviathan, and it's like people are savaging it on the forums because it's apparently bug-ridden and kind of bad within and of itself. So the director apologized. The reason I put it up there is because the director actually apologized. Because how many games have come out, like Bethesda didn't apologize for the state of Fallout 76 when it came out. Not a word. CD Projekt Red did, but not Bethesda. Bethesda's like, yeah, we put out some shit and you're gonna like it.
Just works, it just works. Oh God, not that song again.
It just works. Whatever, Todd. You fucking millionaire.
That song just got stuck in the back of my head again.
Anyway, Yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Kanoshi, would you like to give your introduction while we have your attention?
This Kenoshi about Mito. Glad to be on another one of these BS Busters.
All right.
Uh,
Glad to have you. We have some other news. This comes via an op-ed piece on PC Gamer, where a writer there, said that Dragon Age 2 remains the boldest of BioWare's RPGs. Um, Thoughts?
I don't know. I haven't played. Haven't played either any of the Dragon Age games. I
Uh,
can't tell you. I hear that's the Dragon Age 2. I
mhm.
know that was the most hated. Uh, I don't. Inquisition seemed to have a like they seem to try it. It seemed like the media tried the damage control for that game
Mhm.
to make it better than what it actually was. But I know Dragon Age 2 is the most disliked game.
Mm,
As well, as far as I've seen.
it's pretty bad. Um,
Not. I think Mass Effect 3 probably will. I think people were more outraged about that than they were uh,
well,
Dragon Age 2.
Mass Effect 3 had because basically the studio BioWare had to divide up resources to make Dragon Age 2 and Mass Effect 3. The problem is that both of those games suffer from being rushed, but there were still more resources going towards Mass Effect than Dragon Age 2. And you can tell because Mass Effect 3, even though the ending is rushed, there's no real replayability to Mass Effect 3. Um, and the ending sucks. Um, the game does have really good presentation. Dragon Age 2 not only is the core gameplay fundamentally flawed, but the presentation is cheap. Like you can like here's the thing. And I'll give Nintendo credit for this because it's one of their strengths. Nintendo can take a cheap game property and polish that shit up so that it doesn't the seams, the glue that's holding that shit together, you can barely see it, if at all. Okay. BioWare is not that good. When BioWare make cheaps out on a game or cuts corners, you can see where they fucking cut corners. Especially now that a lot of the more talented staff have left BioWare. In Dragon Age 2, you can see where they cut corners to get that game out at launch. You can see where, like the expansive choice pathfinding for choices that you make, gone. It's like it's very binary choices. Like either or, we need a NPC to die, and either choice you
Red and
make, they're
blue,
gonna
black
die.
and white,
Well,
basically, right?
or either choice, you're gonna die. It's like that skit from Key and Peele, right hand, left hand. Either way, the guy gets slapped. That's basically the type of choices you get in Dragon Age 2. Whereas in Dragon Age Origins, there were minor choices you could make that would dramatically have major repercussions on the outcome of a quest. Dragon Age 2, that shit's gone. Um, there's like 9 different character builds you can use in Dragon Age Origins. There's like 4 character builds you can use in Dragon Age 2. Entire character classes don't even exist in the fucking game. It's bad. I would not call it the boldest Bioware RPG. I would say that's Jade Empire. Because Jade Empire is a martial arts kung fu, um,
Yeah,
martial arts
yeah, I've
epic.
played it. It's to me, it's been one of the more. At least it's a game it's really the only Bioware game I've played. I
Yeah.
mean, not I played a lot. I It's the only game I played extensively.
Jade Empire? Yeah, Jade Empire is a bold game. Jade Empire actually was trying to do something different. It basically moved away from that binary good evil thing that BioWare is known for and went more shades of gray. Because there were some choices you could make in Jade Empire that, depending on how you looked at it, were the right choice for you, like to your point of view, but might have been considered a closed fist or quote unquote evil solution. But it's like, this makes more sense practically and to my own value system than the open hand, open palm. So it's like Jade Empire, the story was really interesting. The twist in Jade Empire was much better than anything you had in other BioWare games up to that point. And
Interesting. And also, it's interesting to see a Western developer uh, use use Eastern mythology rather than
oh
the
yeah,
usual European medieval mythology.
yeah, I would love to see a sequel to Jade Empire before I see another Dragon Age. I'll be honest with you. Um, and I know some people are going to get mad when they hear that. What do you mean? Sorry, I just I prefer Jade Empire as a game. Speaking of games getting sequels, that's how I segued that. It was kind of weird. Several new SteamWorld games are in development. Several. A financial report from Image and Form talks about several new SteamWorld games. So, the last game they released was SteamWorld Quest Hand of Gilgamesh. I had that game on the Switch and PC. Um, bought it twice.
It's been pretty good.
On the Switch, it's not that fun to play. Because basically, like, even on easy difficulty, the game's too easy. On normal difficulty, it's okay. On hard difficulty, it's challenging, but, like, until you level up to a certain point, the enemies are just too hard. On PC, I can cheat and just give myself a lot of money and buy shit, which makes it a much more enjoyable experience. So, because, I don't give a fuck about gamer tags or gamer scores. I'm just trying to enjoy my games. But anyway, SteamWorld Dig 2 is arguably Image and Form's most popular game in the series. I personally liked SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Dig 2. I liked SteamWorld.
SteamWorld series is pretty interesting to me.
I liked the let's see, SteamWorld. Which one was it?
I mean, they did dungeon exploring. They did RPGs.
Yeah, I liked the one that was like a turn-based combat where you basically shot at each other.
Heist.
Yeah, SteamWorld Heist. I like SteamWorld Heist. I'd love another sequel to that.
It's surprising that I'm the one that knows this, and I'm the one that's curious about the SteamWorld.
The titles,
RPG.
the titles start to run together because they all start with SteamWorld. So it's like SteamWorld,
It's like
whatever.
SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Heist, and it's kind of like they're trying to be a franchise, like Mario.
Well, I mean, they are a franchise. They are a franchise, and I will say this much about SteamWorld: it has taken a lot more chances with its IP than Nintendo has taken with Mario. I'll tell you that much right now, because
I'm gonna be honest with you. There's not that many, but I could agree with you on that.
Like they've done, because remember the first SteamWorld game wasn't called SteamWorld; it was called Locke's Quest, and it was like a wave defense game. And then they did SteamWorld Dig, and that put them on the map. And I have that game on like 3 different platforms. I have it on PC, console, and multiple handheld devices. Then they did SteamWorld. Then they did SteamWorld Heist. Then they did SteamWorld Dig 2. Then they did Hand of Gilgamesh. So that's like 6 games right there, and all of them are like even SteamWorld Dig 2, even though the core gameplay is the same as the first game, they went from having randomized dungeons, like every time you start a new game, the layout of where resources was randomized, to in the second game, it's not randomized, but like where certain things are and are different. So it's really, I like it. I like that they take chances and they aren't afraid to take chances and do different things. You know, so I give them credit for that. And that's how you build. That's how you build a franchise. You know, that's how you build a franchise. You do different things. You don't just do the same shit over and over and over again with minor stuff. Um, but with that being said, uh, not so subtle dig to Pokemon actually, not actually innovating their games. But anyway, segueing, talking about people not innovating their games. Ubisoft, surprise, Skull and Bones, their pirate-themed game that was supposed to come out this year, is now set to come out next year or maybe 2023. No one knows.
Never stall again.
No one knows. It's Ubisoft, or as I like to call them, Ubi shit. Now, speaking of
Thank
Ubi
you.
shit, Ubi shit is going to focus more on high-end free-to-play games. Code. Let me translate this for people. This means they want to make games that not only do you that have lots of money put into them and lots of algorithms in it to make you spend extra money on extraneous bullshit like you know extraneous bullshit that no one wants. You know what I'm talking about. Like, loot boxes and microtransactions and shit. You know, the shit that people who really like gaming don't want to see in gaming. So there you go, folks.
Yeah. Loot boxes in a game that you paid for.
Well, I mean, they want to see free to play games. So, I mean, at least they aren't like. Here's the thing: if a game is free to play and then you're charging me for loot boxes and extra shit, makes sense. If I'm paying for a game, then you shouldn't be charging me for extra shit. Or if you are, you should just call them expansions. Because that's what we had back in the day. Like, you would buy a PC game for $50 or $60, and then, a year, 2 years after that, they would release an expansion for like $20. And that would be extra content that would add to the game. And I'm not against expansions. I mean, even back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was going to say that even back in the past, there was some content that couldn't be on the disc, and it had to either be a re-release or a DLC expansion.
Yeah, I have nothing. I have nothing against expansions. What bothers me is when shit that should be in the base game isn't there because of reasons. You know what I'm talking about. So I don't like that. But what are your guys' thoughts on it? Yes, no, maybe so?
Here we go again. Can somebody flush this already? I mean, seriously. You guys delaying stuff again and also trying to put in more free to play?
Well, I mean, I mean, like, they want to be the European EA, and EA is making a fuck ton of money off of microtransactions. So I think the vast majority of their money is being made off of microtransactions. So, if you can make billions of dollars of revenue generated by doing very little, why not? You know? Kanoshi, what do you think about it?
Well, I honestly think, I mean, people aren't particularly as happy with the $70 price tag that some of these companies are going for as it pertains to the consoles, and they can't rely on, you know, they can't rely on these AAA games selling what they want to say. Essentially, since the series is more than since these series are more than long in the tooth, they've been around for how long has Assassin's Creed been around? For almost a decade, maybe
Uh,
over a decade.
let me let me look that up because I've never really been that much into Assassin's Creed. I'm not
Came
like
out
Assassin's Creed came out in 2007, so over a decade, 13 years.
over a decade. Yeah, 13 years.
13,
They
14
still
years.
haven't. They still haven't finished the story. I don't think they haven't. They don't have an ending to that story.
No, no.
Um.
Let put it
Uh.
this way: the story for Assassin's Creed is about as complete as the story of The Legend of Zelda, where fans just basically strung some shit together, and now they're like, "Yeah, this is the story." It's like, look, they weren't thinking about a story when they came up with that fucking game.
I mean, the the producer Jade Raymond might have had a beginning, middle, and end to that story, but they kind of just destroyed it after.
Yeah, she's not there anymore.
Yeah, she's not there anymore.
I mean,
So
let's
it's
be
just kind of.
honest. If they gave a fuck about the story of Assassin's Creed, they would have finished it off instead of killing off Desmond in Assassin's Creed 4. They would have basically had a final Assassin's Creed ending that story with like Desmond basically becoming a modern day assassin and murdering the shit out of Abstergo, Abstergo head honchos. Because that's what it was leading up to. It's like, okay, Desmond keeps on going back in time using the whatever the fuck machine it is, and going through the lifetimes of his ancestors. Well, he's getting those skills too. So by the end, like the last game for his story would have been him just murdering the shit out of Abstergo industry heads and stopping their little secret society Illuminati shit. And then they could have started with like a new chapter of the franchise with different characters. But you know, Jade Raymond
That's probably
left.
what. That's probably what Watch Dogs should have been. But
Yeah, but I
uh,
mean, do you want Watch Dogs associated with Assassin's Creed, considering how dog shit terrible that franchise has been?
no, I'm saying that's what Watch Dogs should have been, not necessarily should be.
All
I
right.
mean, at this point, yeah, at this point, because one of the reasons they couldn't do that sort of thing, like have a modern day tech in Assassin's Creed, is because the way the engine was created. But I mean, they made that Watch Dogs engine, so I mean, and they reference a lot of stuff from Assassin's Creed in that game.
Yeah,
So
isn't
uh,
Abstergo Industries in the Watch Dogs franchise?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The series it had a great great potential, but again, Ubisoft. A lot of these the problem is with a lot of these companies, they have more business oriented people. They don't have a developer uh, leading these companies that has a business mindset. They just have people with just more of a business mindset. It seems like.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, and when you think about how basically the guy who they had running their creative thing was a dude who basically was like, anything that I don't like is just going to get destroyed. Even if it's a good idea, I don't personally like it, so it's going to get destroyed. Which is why all of Ubisoft's games for years was basically just the same shit over and over again. Okay, it's an open world, no changes, same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where to go from there. I mean, where can you go from here, you know?
Yeah.
What can you do? Where can you go?
Hopefully not further down.
What can you do? Where can you go? I don't know why I started singing.
I mean, if this is where I don't really buy AAA games that much anyway, unless something really stands out. But this is where we're headed. I mean, honestly, it's gonna make millions. You know, everybody look at Fortnite, look at
Assassin's Creed.
you
I mean,
know,
look at EA. The vast majority of
yeah,
EA's money comes from microtransactions. So they have
yeah.
no fucking incentive to release new shit, to release
I
decent
think
games.
Square Enix is thinking about this too. I think they should just make their Avengers game free to play and
Yeah,
just throw in the towel with that game.
yeah, they really should. That game should just be free to play. Like, I don't know why they're like, no, it's not. Come on, man. Who are you fooling? Come on. Come on, bro. Come on. We all know the score here. Like, everyone knows that game is a steaming pile of dog shit. Um and it is fundamentally broken. So why continue to support it? Why be like, nah, man, it's not. Come on, man, let it go. Stop wasting people's time with bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, because really, that game should have been single player anyway. It should have been, because from what I've heard from people who played that game, they say that the single player aspect that focuses on Kamala Khan, the new Miss Marvel, is actually the best part of that game. And the mechanics that they just kind of jury rigged onto there in order to make it work with in order to make that game multiplayer and um whatever. It's just not very well done, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't. And here's the thing. I know we said earlier, like, there shouldn't be free to play games with microtransactions, but I'm not against free to play games with microtransactions. What bothers me is when you charge me $60 or $70 for a game and it has microtransactions. Like, that's
That's
what bothers me.
that's the one I was talking about.
Like, if something's free to play, like, if Square Enix revamped Marvel's Avengers and said, "Look, it's free to play, but we have microtransactions," it's like, okay, they got to make money somehow. Fair enough. Or Anthem, if EA had said, "Fuck it, we're gonna keep Anthem alive, but it's gonna be free to play with microtransactions," smart move, makes sense. But maybe, like, give some bennies to the people who bought the shit and still were playing it. Like, okay, here you get like a epic founder loot box with all this free extra shit that makes you look like a badass. Maybe some extra weapons or something. Okay, cool. But for new people, like, I'm not against that. What bothers me is when you try and sell someone a $60 game, and they're like, "Oh wait, here's some, and we're gonna charge you for everything else." It's like you bought a car, and it's like, "Hey, I bought a car, but there's no windshield wipers. Oh no, those will be extra." But that's supposed to come with the car. No, no, no. That'll be $200 per windshield wiper. What? That's basically what they're doing now with some of these games. But you know, it is what it is. What it is. Any thoughts on it before we move on to the next topic?
I think I'm all right.
All right. Okay. 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 All right then. All right. I don't. Okay, all right.
I think the next story is talking about Halo.
Well, actually, it's not talking about Halo. A new studio made up of people who have worked on some of the biggest games in the industry have come together to form Voltron. They've come together to form the feet and legs, the hands and arms, and the head and the torso. I mean, in the torso and the head of Voltron. No, they call themselves the Twin Suns Corporation, and basically they're coming together to make a AAA game. Uh, I mean, they certainly have the pedigree.
If we get something like no, it probably won't happen. I mean, I mean, when you look at Chrono Trigger, it was a once in a lifetime moment, I think.
Well, I mean, these are Western developers, and Western developers don't have the sentiment to make something like Chrono Trigger. But here's the pedigree of Tim Longo Jr., the founder of the corporation. He's got time with LucasArts, Crystal Dynamics, 343 Industries, leading production of Star Wars, Tomb Raider, and Halo video games. So you're looking at 25 years. This guy was probably at the head of some of the better LucasArts games, some of the better Crystal Dynamics games. So Tomb Raider, when Lara Croft was fucking hot, and not the boyish chick they have now. Well, the more realistic, athletic chick they have now. 343 Industries, we all know that, like, you know, when Halo was good, so Halo 1, 2, and 3. I mean, the dude has some chops. So,
Believe him.
I mean, like, here's the thing. I like seeing creative people come together and create new shit, and I hope they can. I hope they can come up with some good stuff. I mean, because we need new shit. Because so many of the games we have now are just iterations of shit that's already been out. You know what I'm saying?
I'll wait to see what they pull out, but here's hoping.
I just want to see some new shit. That's all I'm saying. I want some new games coming out that aren't the same shit over and over and over again. But that's my own personal opinion. Um, anyway, just thought. You have any thoughts on it, Kenoshi, before we move on to the next news topic? Yes, no, maybe so.
No, not really. All right. I mean, it'd be nice to see some new, you know, new ideas for AAA games. But
Some new shit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. All right. All right. Next little bit of news. Famicom Detective Club Remake is a celebration of text-based mystery games. Yeah, I heard.
It's kind of out of my normal section, so you two guys got this one.
Well, I heard a lot of people like the people that I know who have this game really like it. The only reason I didn't get the game is because I have the original on the
NES?
yeah, on the NES that I basically got a. I got the game. I ripped it using a translation patch. Then and then I put it back on the ROM, or not on the ROM, using my basically it's like an Evercade ROM thing where you can put multiple ROMs on one cartridge. And so like I've played this game, and this is a graphical update, but if you've played the Detective Club, like, I mean, nothing really changed aside from the graphical fidelity. So to me, I just was not really interested. Yeah, I wasn't interested in playing an update to that. And I know some people are going to be like, how could you do that? How could you not be interested in an update to Famicom to the mystery to the Famicom Mystery Dungeon? Just don't really care about that series all that much. I do like adventure games, but like, here's the thing: Japanese adventure games are not fun to play, really. By and large, the puzzles are esoteric and nonsensical sometimes. So I was like, I can't really get involved with that. But hey, to each his own.
Say that
Um,
if they if they might if they did the puzzles better, would that get you at least looking at them again?
I mean, they're very like you have to be really into Japanese culture, and the thing about the Famicom Detective Club,
Mm-hmm.
Mystery Club games is even though the aesthetic looks like, oh, this is gonna be like, okay, like that those games that came out for the DS and the 3DS that were like T for teen, but they were adventure games where you had to find out who the murderer was and that type of shit.
Like the triple 9
Yeah,
games.
like the triple nine games. It's like that, but some of the Famicom Detective Club games had shit like women being raped, murder, bodies being mutilated. It was like, yeah, there's a reason this shit wasn't localized in America because it's kind of fucked up. And I don't want to play a game like that again. Um, but that was my own
Okay,
personal opinion. No, I don't like
I
playing
know.
stuff
I'm
like
just
that.
saying that some things are best that you do not know.
No, I just don't like playing games that have dark shit like that. I don't like dark shit like that.
You don't like dark tones.
No, I do not.
Heh. And yet some people are into stuff like Fear and Dark Souls. Not sure.
What kind of dark tones does this game have? Because sometimes it's
Murder, assault,
Rape,
mutilation, rape.
mutilation, beheadings, fucked up shit.
oh, is it just there because it's there, or is it?
No, it's a vital part of the
It's a part
story.
of the story.
I just don't like stuff like that. So I didn't watch it. I was like, I don't really like
Yeah, that's
dark
kind of
shit
Oh,
like
like
me in
this.
horror game. That's kind of like me with horror titles.
No, I mean I'm not against horror as a genre. I just don't like adventure games that have shit like that. Like,
Yeah,
because they
I
try
said
too hard.
I said it's kind of like me
oh,
with
oh,
horror.
I see. I see where you're coming from now. Yeah, I can't stand things that just try a little bit too hard with that stuff rather than it just naturally flowing.
It's like this shit's gratuitous, and it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes things are just darker than they actually need to be.
Like I recently beat um, Shadow Man um, for the PC, the remaster, and I mean I like the game. I'm not saying it's perfect, but for what it is, it's pretty good. Adds a lot of new extra content, like a few new bosses, like 3, 4 new areas. And I enjoy it for what it is. But I'm like, man, this game, even though I'm enjoying it, um, it's dark. It deals with a lot of mature concepts like the devil, uh, guilt, survivor's guilt, um, uh, murder, uh, infinite punishment, just all types of stuff, guilt. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, okay, but I mean, you have an interesting story, and the game, even though the atmosphere is very dark and the story is dark, there's other stuff going on to where I can get through it, and that doesn't bother me. It's basically kind of like Tomb Raider for the fifth gen. But instead of having a boxy chick with a really big chest, it's Mike Leroy, a man who essentially has been gifted with the ability of unlife, where he cannot die. And when he does die, he goes to the alternate world where all the dead go when they die, and it's very interesting. But that's dark, but it's not like, oh my god, this is dark for the sake of dark. There's a point to the darkness. Like you play an adventure game with death in it. It's like, damn, that's kind of fucked up, and it's like shock value type stuff. I don't like that. So
Yeah, like I'm talking about this book a lot, but Berserk. I mean, I don't know the stuff that happens in it makes sense versus just being there just for the sake of it being there.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I don't like it. Yeah, but yeah, Berserk. Yeah, Berserk is a dark world, but that's the setting. The setting of that world is
Yeah,
dark. And
yeah,
Berserk would it's like Fist of the North Star. Fist of the North Star is a dark series. It's supposed to be dark. If you were reading or watching a Fist of the North Star manga and there wasn't a dark, depressing, post-apocalyptic tone, you'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" Now
yeah.
there are spin-offs to the series that are not set like that, like Susetsu Hokuto no Ken, which is set in like the 1940s, like the 1930s and 1940s. It's a spin-off, but it's set in like pre-World War II Japan and China and stuff. So it's like, okay, I see where you're going with this. But I mean, that's like the exception to the rule. If you're watching normal Hokuto no Ken, you know, okay, it's going to be post-apocalyptic and there's going to be fucked up shit. People, women getting raped, people getting murdered just casually, until Kenshiro comes in and just starts fucking dudes up, because that's what Kenshiro does. Like, Kenshiro brings peace out of confusion. The ultimate peace, the peace of death. Okay. Anyway, let's keep it
That's kind
moving.
of why. That's why I didn't really like. I didn't really like Elfin Lied. I just thought that was way more violent than it needed to be.
You didn't like what?
I mean, Elfin Lied, Elfin Lied, Elfin Lied. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I have to take a phone call. Continue talking about it though.
Yeah, it's basically about this.
Yes.
It's basically this anime about. It's about this
Yeah, I did
race
send
of
him some pictures.
people. I think they're not called the Cyclonists
Well,
or something,
that's the dude
something
that I
like that.
canceled the
And
stuff anyway, so it's a moot point.
apparently, they
Um,
just naturally hate humanity and want to be the
Ma, I
top.
don't need to
They
resend
at
him
the
because
top
that's
of
the
the
dude I
chain of the
told don't come.
species, and
Jesus
they
fucking
have like these
Christ.
invisible arms and these invisible hands that anytime they get a hold of you, they just like they tear apart. They
Well,
tear apart.
the thing about Elfin Lied is that Elfin Lied is what if you did like what would be if you did Elfin Lied is D&D done dark and in an anime style.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, like except it's like oh, you just got hit in the head and every hit is a critical hit. So like so
yeah,
people it's like, oh, you just got hit in the head with a mace. Oh, your head's exploded into chunks. You're dead. Like that's basically they critted it. It's a D20. That's Elfin Lied. Um, Personally, I like that. I like the Elfin Lied is, but I could get why you might find it to be a little bit too much. Um,
I mean, I like the overall story. It's just some of the imagery is like
yeah,
I feel like this is a bit unnecessary. But you know, I I like the story. I just didn't. I just thought the imagery went to it's a bit much, but that's just me.
yeah, I get it. But anyway, speaking of things that go on too much, that was a terrible segue. So basically,
You need
Netflix,
aim.
yes, Netflix came out with a wonderful series earlier this year called Lupin. It is not based on, well, it's tangentially based on Lupin the Third. It's based on the concept of Arsène Lupin, Arsène Lupin, the gentleman thief. Um,
Oh God.
and it's basically it plays Omar Sy, a French black guy who essentially is he's basically like a modern version of Arsène Lupin, and he's basically trying to find out who set his father up. Who his father like basically was murdered in prison for a crime he did not commit. So it's like got that whole thing going on. And I mean, it's basically like a modern real life take on Lupin the Third. Except Lupin in this case is a black guy, so I like it. And it's in French, so
Got me curious, at
it's
least.
got dubs, but the dubs are so ridiculously bad because I know what this guy actually sounds like. So I listen to it in French with the English subtitles because I'm like, I can't like seeing
I was
this
gonna
dude.
ask, is it that cheesy?
No, it's just dubs for me are very hit or miss. And this one, it's like, okay, I know what Omar Sy sounds like, but the guy who they got to be his voice actor is Michael Jai White. So when he's talking, I'm like, no, 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 no. It just sounds better in French with English
This,
subtitles.
I was gonna make the commentary that this is like in animation with the dub and sub wars.
Yeah, it's like Goku in America sounds great. Goku in Japan sounds like a little kid, even though it's been the same voice actor for years. I think did she die or is she still alive? Anyway, the same Japanese lady, and I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, but I mean, I'm tired. Whatever. But anyway, it's coming out June 11th, I think. Here, let me look it up. It's coming out, yeah, June 11th, and you get the whole thing, all 5 episodes. Netflix's Lupin, and I'll probably wind up watching it. So there you go, folks.
So
Um,
it's made by a so it's made by a French animation team.
no,
Or
no,
is it?
no. It's basically a modern live action take on Lupin the Third.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little cheesy, but I like it. I mean, look, listen, man. 2020 was a rough year for entertainment, so you had to take whatever you could get. And Lupin was pretty good, so I stuck with it. I'm glad it ends on a cliffhanger because they're like, we don't know if we'll get a season 2, so now they're getting a part 2, so I'll watch that, and it'll probably be good. That being said, time to get to these panel suggested topics. The first one is from Trusk. So here are his topics. I'm going to read them out as he wrote them, and then we can talk about it. Um, he says, you know what event gets a lot of stuff wrong? E3. With Nintendo, they got it, but with many other companies, for most of the time, they do not. Why? Because whenever I heard shit from Namco in the event on the Namco side, it's usually a JRPG. And that's okay, except we get a bit too many of those. When the company reveals a big surprise, it's utter disappointment because we get shown with the effing Bandai side. Ugh, stupid jump, stupid Bandai. They share us with the same jump crap that people are getting tired of. They do not even tackle the real problem. E3 should give us more variety and not any of those rather uninteresting AAA games that no one might buy. This is why I go to more interesting live streams like those that give us shoot 'em ups. Uh, who wants to tackle this first?
Where
What was
the arc do I even begin? First, E the the enter the Electronic Entertainment Expo.
Yeah.
Who the beep gives a beep about it?
I mean, people are excited about it.
I mean,
I
people are
know.
still excited. People are still excited about E3. People still,
Yeah.
are using that
Yeah,
tagline
though if
"Christmas
anything,
for
I
gamers."
usually check E3 because I want to know what the heck are you guys gonna are you gonna try to parade on us this time?
Yeah,
And at times there's a little hype in there.
and plus you
Thank you.
get information about stuff coming out, and some stuff is pretty interesting. I mean,
Yeah, it's just that if
I'm gonna
anything,
skip it.
remember how E3 used to be in a sense that the people who got in and had some fun there interacting with some of it,
I
and we
remember
even got
when
some.
I remember when E3 was a big circle jerk for Sony, Microsoft, and EA and Ubisoft, where they basically just went up there and talked about bullshit.
I'm
And
just gonna, I'm just gonna read the press release this year. I'm not watching it.
Hmm.
all
I'm
right,
done.
Well, I'm not watching it either. I'll watch Nintendo's thing because I own a Nintendo console,
Same.
and I mean I'll probably watch the PC thing because I have a PC and I game a lot on PC. But aside from that, I'm not going to be, oh my god, what's happening at E3? Because here's the thing: everything that they literally like 75% of the shit that they show on Microsoft and Sony's side, between
They're
50 to
years
75%.
ahead.
Well, no, it's also coming to PC, so like I'm not really all that interested.
I was trying to, I was trying to say that it's years ahead before it even arrives on PC. As in, this is a game trailer, and it's gonna come out next year.
Yeah, this is a game trailer, and it's coming out when it comes out. There you go. um, I mean, there are some games that were shown at E3 years previously. Like I pre-ordered Biomutant, and I'm quite happy about it. So, I mean, not every game, not everything shown off at E3 is just trash.
True. Though, have fun trying to find the gold between the litter.
I mean, there are some games that were shown off at E3 that have been good. They showed off Dragon Age Origins at E3. That was a good game. Dragon Age Inquisition sucked, but I mean that game was doomed to suck anyway. Really, just to be honest with you.
Fate worse than death. Being stuck in one direction that's apparently looking like two.
I can understand that.
As in, you know the image of a cow being shown two pathways, and they both lead to the same
They're still
final destination.
gonna take that railway spike to their forehead in the slaughterhouse.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It sucks. But anyway, like I was saying, that's just how I feel. I think that E3 as it has been in the past has become increasingly more irrelevant. If E3 can become like more like a digital presentation, like a Nintendo Online, Nintendo Direct, where they just little introduction, game, 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 because that's the way to do it. Like
River,
stop stop
game.
turning this into a massive circle jerk for these companies and just talk about the games.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Give us have a little have a have it like this. Pre ga- game announcement, presentation, and intro. Game. Presentation interruption. Game. One last thing. Game.
Yeah, and that's what they should be doing. But that's what we live
But
in.
then again, some people have egos the size of blimps.
Well, I mean, like I said, E3 should be treated like any other.
News podcasts.
No, E3 should be about the products that they're trying to get people to buy, which are video games. And yet E3 became about this ego stroking contest between the different companies, and not about what they were trying to sell you, which were the games. And that's to me, that's when E3 kind of became like, I don't really like this. Plus, it just got really cringeworthy sometimes. I was like, I don't care.
And not the good kind of cringe, mind you.
No, no cringe is good, but this was just like I don't really care about any of
I
these
was
things.
The only kind of cringe I think is good is cringe that you could actually laugh at.
Even then, because then I just feel bad picking on people. See, now I'm just picking on you, and I don't like picking on people.
I think I get you on that.
But
I
anyway, um, Kanoshi gave his thoughts. You gave your thoughts. I guess I'll give my thoughts. The whole Namco thing, it's usually an RPG. JRPGs have been dwindling. the amount of JRPGs we've been getting has been going down. We had a glut of them during the PS1 and PS2 generation, like during the fifth and sixth generation, you had a lot of JRPGs. Now they're rare, or at least not nearly. Like basically, I mean, like let's just look at Square Enix, okay? Square Enix during the fourth gen came out with, and I'm including Japan only and U.S. releases. Final Fantasy 3, 4, Final Fantasy 3, 4, and 4, 5, and 6, Live Alive, Bahamut Lagoon, Chrono Trigger, and Secret of Mana. So that's 7. There's another game in there that I'm missing. Front Mission Gun Hazard. That's 9. So that's 9 JRPGs. And that's just Squaresoft. Okay, I'm not including Enix. I'm not including things that Square Enix published. Like they published in America, they published Breath of Fire. So I mean, like Square Enix just alone was pumping out tons of JRPGs. And then with the PS1 generation, you had a lot of JRPGs from Square Enix. A lot of them were re-releases from Japan, translated into English. Like I think for a lot of people, that's the first time they played Final Fantasy V. But I mean, JRPGs are kind of like we have a dearth of JRPGs. I will say this much: a lot of the JRPGs coming from Namco are cheap as fuck and very low budget.
I was gonna say, it's cheap enough to be toilet paper at this point.
I mean, they aren't that cheap. They just don't have a large budget. Like I recently bought Digimon Cyber Sleuth, right? For I think it was on sale for like $20. And the game, I mean, it's cheap. I mean, it doesn't have a large budget. You know, you can tell, you can play it, you're like, man, this shit's cheap. And I'm not against it, but it's just really fucking cheap, you know?
Between good, cheap, and you pay what you get for.
No,
You get what you pay for cheap.
It's not like, oh my god, this shit's falling apart in my hands cheap. It's just you can tell that it was made on a limited budget, okay?
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that they didn't have the full power of Namco Bandai behind this shit. That's all I'm saying, alright?
Yeah.
You know? It's like, you know when you go to a cookout and you can tell when someone put some money behind the meat they bought?
Yeah.
And then you can tell when someone went cheap.
You could tell by the flavor.
You can tell, well, by the cut of the meat. It's like, these hot dogs, these aren't Ballpark, huh? Or Nathan's, huh? You got some off-brand hot dogs, didn't you? Some cheap-ass shit, didn't you? I'm never inviting you to the cookout again, you cheap bastard. It's like that.
It's go for the Oscar Myers, for our sake.
Well, Oscar Mayer is like mid-tier. It's like, it's not the most expensive, but it's edible. I'm talking about brands where it's like, you've never heard of that brand. Like, even when it was on sale, you wouldn't buy it. You'd be like, those look terrible.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. They couldn't even get some Oscar Myers?
No. For me, the best hot dogs are, Like the best like normal name brand hot dogs you can get if you go to a store is like Nathan's, uh,
Oh
Hebrew
yeah.
National.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like really good hot dogs.
Yeah, that's why I said. That's why I was saying that if somebody can't even get Oscar Mayer, which is kind of middle of the road,
yeah,
then something's wrong.
yeah. Don't invite their asses to the next cookout. But yeah, like basically, like Digimon Cyber Sleuth is kind of like a it's the Oscar Mayer of JRPGs. It's kind of cheap, kind of you can tell they cut a lot of corners. I mean, the anuses and the trimmings and the went into this game. It's not top tier cuttings that went into making this. Okay, I'm enjoying it because I'm a Digimon fan, but it's not like, oh my
It's
god,
not
this is
something that.
great.
Yeah, yeah. It's not the best, but ugh.
And as far as saying they shower the same jump crap people are getting tired of, yeah, but that's the thing. Those jump games sell gangbusters. People like buying One Piece games. I don't know why. People like those Naruto games, and they sell
Funny thing,
gangbusters.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that, and yet I see people saying that are that Arena 3D fighter games are su- are supposed to be pretty good,
Yeah, people like them.
and yet
So
I and yet I've seen none that done it. Not even Naruto, which oh
yeah,
boy.
my problem with those arena games is that they're just kind of like very samey,
I mean,
and
they don't have the feel of Power Stone. They don't have the quality that
yeah, they're just
that
they're
Street
overly
Fighter has.
simplistic.
Yeah.
They're overly simplistic, and they don't really update. Like, say whatever you want to about Capcom, but each iteration of Street Fighter has updated or changed up the formula. If you've played one Naruto Ninja Storm game, you played all of them. You don't need to
Or Dragon Ball.
or any of the modern Dragon Ball Z games, like unless except for the Arc System work ones. But the ones that are made by Namco Bandai, if you played one of them, you played the other ones because it's all
Hmm.
basically the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like stuff like that. But that's my own personal opinion. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I think E3 going digital and taking a page, like just take a page out of Nintendo's book and just do digital events from now on. Like Sony's like our state of play. It's like, look, man, just steal from. Look, you guys been stealing from Nintendo for years. Like if you have an Xbox 360 controller, pick it up. Now hold that shit next to a SNES controller. Okay, Sony and Microsoft have been using derivations of the same fucking controller since their first generation, and their controller was them stealing the SNES controller. Okay, so you guys like you stole everything from Nintendo. Well, steal this shit too, so you can have shorter conferences that give more information out and stop wasting people's time with bullshit. Okay. Just all of you do this. Just say, hey, this is a game from so and so and so and so. Game. Next person comes up. This is a game from so and so. Game. That's it. And maybe have like a treehouse where people talk about the games afterwards and go in depth. That's cool. But don't waste my time with all this. Yeah, we brought this celebrity out who doesn't really play video games, or if they do, they ain't playing your shit. You know. Except for Aisha
Yeah.
Tyler. I like Aisha Tyler. More Aisha Tyler at E3. But
I can
aside
only
from
imagine
that,
why.
well, I'll keep it real. I like tall, curvy black women. Plus, she has a bachelor's degree from Harvard University, which means she's really intelligent and I don't know, really smart, tall, curvy black women. That's my yang. So I'm attracted to her. And plus, she's divorced, so she's single.
I was about to say, I think we got plenty of info there.
Sorry, I mean,
Yeah, I can forgive you having a nerd boner.
I'm sorry. I like I am intellectually I'm attracted to intellectually intelligent people. I'm sorry. But anyway,
Like I said,
so
I
yeah,
can forgive.
as far
After all,
as give us more shoot 'em ups, I don't know, man. I mean, like what type of shoot 'em ups? You mean like 2D shoot 'em ups, 3D shoot 'em ups, vertical, horizontal, uh 360 degree? Like it depends on what type of shoot 'em up. I just don't want more first person shoot 'em ups.
thank you. Yeah, I'm not a fan of a first person myself, so well, there's a hope.
Yeah, I'm tired of first person shoot 'em ups. Like unless you're doing something really new, I'm just fucking tired of first person shoot 'em ups. I know some people are gonna be like, but it's really popular. Look, there's tons of shit that's really popular. That doesn't mean I have to like it. Okay, people like snorting, people like doing meth. It's popular, but that don't mean I gotta do it. Shit. Anyway, yeah. All right then. So that's the end of Trusk's my reaction to Trusk things. Now we have Jules. She brought these up,
And it
and
was something I was having to let out after last week.
she had it on Twitter. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna add this to the cast because she feels very strongly about it. So I'm going to. I'm gonna let her continue with it. So
Okay, so do you want me to hit number one or number two first?
go ahead. They're yours. So you go. You choose whichever you want to go with first.
Okay, both of these are from Pokemon and, or in a sense, Pokemon related because one of them is something more in general. The first one being that a hidden machine should return to this Pokemon series with a clear hint of exploration. And and what I mean about this one is that even if it's not on the main routes that you use the hidden machines, use it on the routes when you're going on the side, like when you're like there's something out on the distance and you want to check it out. Reward the player for going off the beaten path and basically checking out what new Pokemon are there and find out what else is around. Give put some lure, put some hidden lure in there. Put some put some rare items. Even give us some rare Pokemon in those offshot areas that require HMs and having you go back to get something.
I agree.
I mean,
What you thought I was
serious.
gonna say, I did. I agree. I think they do. I think they need to bring back
Yeah,
HMs.
that's the thing. Most people say no HMs, no HMs. They slowed the game down.
No, they didn't slow the game down. They basically HMs basically gated progression so that you wouldn't go to areas you're not supposed to go to before your time.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, the HMs are like are like time locks. You you do your work, you actually get somewhere.
You know, it's like, oh, well, okay, in order for me to go to this new area, or like, I'm going to use Gen 1 as an example because I think at this point most people can have played Gen 1. In order for me to fully explore Safari Zone, I need to be able to surf. Okay, I don't have the surf ability, so I'm not going to be able to get all the little bennies and go deepest in the deepest part of Safari Zone in order to catch some of the rare Pokemon I can catch in Safari Zone. Okay, so that's gating my progress. So I have a reason to come back here once I have the ability to surf. Like I like stuff like that. Like because basically it forces you to actually explore and look around and stuff like that. If you can do everything from the beginning of the game, then why do anything? What's your incentive to actually do anything aside from just dick around.
Yeah, I mean, come on, we're, that's why I feel like HM should return, but reward people for that go for exploration, that go
Sorry
out to
about
boot
that,
camp.
guys. Sorry about that. I had to do something.
That's
Well,
It's
okay.
okay.
computer troubles.
That's all right. It's okay. We were just covering Jules' personal topic she wanted to bring up.
Yeah,
It's Pokemon
and
related, so.
well, one is Pokemon related. The other one is Pokemon-ish related, but kind of could expand out.
All
And
right.
that would be that the Wii U should have had a stadium game for Pokemon for Generation 6, or at the very least, a DS player, which would have helped all the DS games in a sense.
I'm with you
No,
with the
stadium
Pokemon
games are boring.
Stadium. Well, the thing is, if the stadium game was going to be like the other stadium games, then it doesn't need to be there because those games were just like the Pokemon battling in Pokemon Stadium was trash on the first two games on the
Yeah.
N64. Like when they did Coliseum, like the two stadium games they did on the GameCube actually changed up the formula. So it was actually kind of interesting. Like the whole how you could steal shadow Pokemon. That was cool.
I was gonna, I was gonna say that I was gonna put the entire 3D, 3D stadium, quote unquote stadium series together for this one because if anything, playing playing on the big screen and maybe having a adventure of sorts would actually be interesting.
Yeah, that's what
Well, the
I.
thing is, the thing about Pokemon Stadium is, after playing through, after playing Nino Kuni, I kind of wish Pokemon would be something along the lines of that.
Or
Uh,
yeah,
even
yeah. Or at least okay, you can keep the base formula Pokemon, but do a spin-off for people who are tired of the old shit. That's like Nino Kuni.
yeah, that'd be kind of nice.
Like
I always
you
with you
know,
on that.
or even
I was
better, do a spin-off for older Pokemon fans like ourselves who are tired of the little kid running around. Do a Pokemon that's like more
more adult oriented.
more adult oriented, what like grown folks doing Pokemon shit. Because I'm tired of seeing like a 12-year-old kid leave home, drop out of school to fight Pokemon. That's just kind of stupid, really. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Um,
and I said, or and have a DS player as well. But if anything,
I'm
that's
I'm
probably a.
I can't go
Uh,
with that because there was
I
no
have
way
to.
on God's green earth Nintendo was gonna sabotage their highest selling um, handheld for their lowest selling console.
I
But
say that because a DS player at least would give you something to work with,
I
and
mean,
actually give put some value into something that people kept on hating.
I agree, but it probably would have been better for them just to do what they did for the 3DS, where you could transfer the 3DS versions of you know red and blue and yellow and crystal. You could transfer those Pokemon into the Pokemon Bank and then transfer them into your game. Really, really, they should have just done like released versions of those games you could play on the Wii U. But like I said, the Wii U sold so poorly that they had no incentive to do any of that. So why not? And now with the Switch, because they don't have to put any real effort and people will just buy anything on the Switch apparently. They have no incentive to do any of that. And here's the thing: this isn't Nintendo. This is Pokemon Company. Company ain't doing shit. Okay. They Pokemon Company, if someone said, "Hey, Pokemon Company, you'll make a little bit more money if you just take 2 steps to the left," they won't do it. Okay, they're lazy bastards. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, even even if you, I mean, it's one thing that I get on Nintendo's case at times, but it's really when I get on to Pokemon's case that really drives me up the wall with them. I mean, come on, you you guys have you guys are basically the biggest money makers in all of media. you even you even kirk you even kicked Mario in the orbs
Yeah.
with how much money you got.
And it's all with merchandising. They don't even really they make the vast majority of their money with merchandising. Like really the games don't even make as much money as their merchandising does. That should tell you
Which
something.
which bugs me even more that you got all this merchandise that you could put into put into making a better quality, and yet
The same lazy ass shit over and over again. Yeah,
yes,
you know.
and and I'm actually tempted to buy something from Bandai Namco for something that for a quality Pokemon experience.
What, Digimon?
Digimon and the Snap, which
What,
could tell
Pokemon Snap?
yeah,
What,
which should
they're the
tell
ones
you
behind making that?
yeah,
Ugh.
which
I
should
definitely
be
will
a
not be buying that.
surprise.
Yeah, I don't like Pokemon Snap. I know a lot of people like Pokemon Snap. I'm not one of those people.
That's the thing. I I actually played it, and even though I finished it, well, I actually was tempted to buy it when I saw how much of a quality and care was put into it compared to what I saw with Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yeah. It's clear to me that the Pokemon Company isn't even trying anymore. And as long as people just continue to buy whatever fucking shit the Pokemon Company puts out, um, you know, if you're gonna purchase it, you don't hold them to any type of accountability. It's not gonna get better. Um, we have one
Yeah,
final topic left. Uh, it's mine. It's gonna be a short one, but I thought you guys might care about it. Rumor is Nintendo is working on a new Donkey Kong Country game, and it's either going to be 2D, 3D, or 2.5D. It's not going to be based on Donkey Kong Country Returns, which is good because those games are okay at best, in my opinion. Um, and it's going to be made by Tokyo EAD, so the studio that made Mario Odyssey, which is kind of weird to me. I thought they'd be working on a new Mario Odyssey, like a sequel to that game. But whatever.
weird.
So they're making a new Donkey Kong game?
Yeah, but it's a Donkey Kong game that apparently is gonna have a return of Donkey, Diddy, Cranky, and the Kremlings and King K. Rool. But it's like the rumor is it's either gonna be 2D or 3D, like Donkey Kong 64.
Um,
Just make it more bearable than Donkey Kong 64.
I
I know
mean,
I know now I know now there are mods where you can kind of where it fixes a lot of the inconveniences, but
like the Kong
mm,
swapping.
I'll be honest with you.
yeah,
I
it's
like Donkey
now
Kong 64. Even with the inconveniences, I do like Donkey
I was
Kong
gonna
64.
say some of the only thing that I cannot stand about Donkey Kong 64 is some of those mini games.
Yeah. The ones where you have to use the that you play as the little claptrap, and
Gremlin.
you have to scare those little fucking naughty beavers into the hole. That's kind of, I mean, in the earlier levels, it's an easy mini game, but towards the end, it's like this is really
Hair ripper.
frustrating. But
It's a hair ripper to me.
I mean,
I,
like once you get
yeah,
into the groove, it's I mean the mini games in that game get to a point where once you get into the groove of how to really cheese them, it's not so bad. But I mean if you're like it's a special skill. Like like if you don't get into it, it's really hard to get into it. So I can understand where people would find that frustrating. But yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, I personally, I would rather see a Donkey Kong Country 3D game than another Mario Odyssey or another Donkey Kong Country Returns because I don't like those
I was gonna
games.
say a 2.5D game.
I know I just don't want another Donkey Kong Country Returns. I don't like those games. I think that they're inferior follow-ups to a superior franchise. And you know,
I
like
consider him good. I consider him good, really.
why would I want to play the knockoffs of a much better experience? It's like, you
If
know,
if those are knockoffs, then Then I have to wonder what you consider cheap China.
Well, they are knockoffs though. Like Donkey Kong Country Returns is a knockoff of Donkey Kong Country. But I did this. I played the two side by side. Donkey Kong Country Returns isn't nowhere near as good as Donkey Kong Country. And Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is a supposed to be like a 1-to-1 to Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest. But I mean, Donkey Kong Country 2 is one of the best 2D platformers ever created. And I mean, I'm sorry, but Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is nowhere close to being that good. Not even close. Not even across the street. Not
Hey.
even in the same town.
I'm sorry, it's still a good game.
I didn't say it wasn't good. I'm saying it's not it's nowhere close. Like, okay, let me put it this way. If Donkey Kong Country Returns and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze existed on their own and were not compared to the Rare trilogy on the SNES, they would be okay for what they are. They aren't the greatest 2D platformers ever. They're good. They're okay. They're good for what they are. But then, I mean, like, they specifically name those games. Oh, it's Donkey Kong Country Returns. So you're trying to catch some shine from Rare when they were back at the height of their powers. And I'm sorry, those games are nowhere close to being that good. So comparatively speaking, they look worse. It's kind of like if you go to a science fair and you do a paper mache volcano that looks cheap as fuck, and some kid who does model train work, so all their shit looks really professional, has their shit next to yours. Yeah, your shit's gonna look worse. Okay? The same principle applies, but their shit looks better.
At least I was trying to say that the games here that so far Returns is not a bad game, but it's not the same as the country series.
No, it's not. Really, personally, I just wish they would have just made their own shit and not called it Returns. Like, it's Donkey Kong Country. Okay, cool. But when they were like, it's Donkey Kong Country Returns. Oh, really? So you're gonna bring back the old character? No. Okay, so so I'm gonna be able to play as two different characters. So I have to unlock that by playing your sadistically hard levels. Like unfairly hard, not like just skill-based hard. Okay, yeah, fuck you. That's basically how I felt with those two games.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could fully agree with. So, on how some of those levels are difficulty for the sake of difficulty's sake.
Yeah, it was at that point that I was kind of like, I can't support. This franchise is not that good.
So if they pull off something like Donkey Kong 64, here's hoping that they don't get as lost as Rare did.
Well, I mean,
I do like ukulele 2D games.
Yeah, but those games feel like Donkey Kong Country. Ironically enough, the Impossible Factory feels like a Donkey Kong Country game. Like it literally feels like like Donkey Kong Country 4.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not against the retro games. It's just when you compare them to what they're aping, no pun intended, you can see that they're not at that level, and that's all I'm saying. So here's hoping that the next, if this is true, if this rumor is true, the next 3D Donkey Kong Country game, if that's what they're making, can actually, be good. That's all I'm asking. Just be good, and bring back King K. Rool and not these weird ass fucking villains that no one gives a shit about. And I know people are gonna be like, "What do you mean? I like the Tikis." I didn't. Okay, I didn't give a shit about the Tikis. All right.
I'm gonna say that Tikis were weak sauce. At least the Warriors, at least the Frost crew was a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, I didn't really give a shit about them either. Because the final boss of that game used the same fucking pattern as King K. Rool did in Donkey Kong Country 2. And I'm like, you guys are so lazy, you can't even come up with something original?
They actually
Yes.
did. the
Yes!
cannons.
Yes! The same fucking patterns. It's lazy. I mean, like I said, retro. I mean, they're better than this. You're better than this, dudes.
And not the facepalm right now.
You don't have to fucking copy Rare. Rare is their own thing. You guys need to do your own thing and stop trying to ape other people. No pun intended. But yeah, I totally want. As far as I want a new Donkey Kong Country 3D game. I would love for them to make it as expansive as they can. So different hub areas, different challenges. Um, Maybe have different playable characters aside from just Donkey and Diddy. And bring back King K. Rool. It's been a while. Bring back the King. Because King K. Rool was actually a fun villain. And unlike Bowser, he was actually competent.
Insane, but competent.
No, I don't think he was insane. He was just kind of a dick. But he was competent. He actually was fucking competent.
I could agree on that. It's just that I feel like he's competent, but I feel like he has a screw loose in there somewhere too.
No, he just really fucking hates Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Country. But I mean, if you got your ass kicked that much, you wouldn't like it either. So
In that case, it's understandable. It's just that if anything, when I remember him from Donkey Kong Country 1 and saw how he looks crazy still.
Well,
I mean, wonder.
I mean, he did have a 800-pound gorilla bouncing on his head. He probably is concussed. But yeah, bring back King K. Rool. Desires, just make a good game, and don't make it boring like don't make it boring like Mario Odyssey, which after a while that game gets, or at least to me it got boring. But anyway, that's my opinion. Anything you guys want to pimp up before we wrap things up? Anything?
I think we're good.
All right. That's the end of the podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you for joining. We will be back this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll be talking about all types of things. I have no idea what. Whatever news stories that pop up.
You just have to stay tuned to find out.
That is correct. Peace. Have a good day. Good May and all that stuff.
And hunt responsibly.
All right.